Welcome to the Eclectic Thrifter and Crafter, where we thrift and craft with purpose. It's Tea Tuesday, or in my world, Crafty Tuesday. What can we make with a pine cone, some wool, some black yarn, and 2 buttons? We're going to find out in just one moment. But first, let's have a cup of tea. Today we're having rose petal tea and biscotti. Hello, thank you for joining me for this cup of tea today. I'm glad that several of you have commented and enjoyed the fishing rod project. Today we're going to do something very sweet. We are going to make Dash from the Enola Holmes stories. Dash was a King Charles Spaniel belonging to Queen Victoria. Dash was given to the Queen in 1833. She was the mother of 9 children, and she loved her dogs just as much. I hope you'll enjoy today's project. There's a reason I chose to call myself the Eclectic Thrifter and Crafter. It's because I love doing all sorts of things. So here is Dash, and we're going to give it a try. We have pine cones all over the yard, and I just happen to have about 35 pounds of raw wool. And among other projects that I'm going to share with you this year with that wool, we're going to do this today. I have my needle felting needles. This is a needle felting pad. And one of the easiest way to card is with 2 dog brushes. So easy. So if you're going to teach little hands how to drop spindle, they can card their own wool with 2 dog brushes. It is the exact same material that carding brushes are made out of, and far less expensive. I've actually had this wool for several years. Someone had offered to give me I think it's a Norwegian Princess spinning wheel. It has never arrived at this house, but I still have the wool. So we're going to make something out of this wool this year. And we're going to start with Dash. I'm going to begin by stuffing the pine cone as much as possible with the white wool. By doing this, I'm building a base to felt with my needles. And with your brush, you can mix the colors and make the gray color that you need to blend into the wool. I'm also using some boucle yarn. Works just as well. Wool has barbs to it, and that's why it sticks together and it can form a surface. This is your needle felting needle. It's easy to find your needle felting equipment on Amazon, and there are some wonderful tutorials on YouTube about needle felting. I am not a champion needle felter. This is your felting needle. It also has barbs on it, and it helps the barbs on the wool lock together. You can actually sculpt the wool. I would not recommend this for young hands because the needle felting needle is exceedingly sharp. But sculpting with wool is really wonderful and a lot of fun with needle felting. You'll want to make Dash's muzzle about 1 inch thick at the tip of the pine cone. Now you are going to run into some resistance because of the pine cone, but just take your time. I had actually never heard of the Enola Holmes books, but I watched the Enola Holmes series on Netflix, and I enjoyed it so much because I love Sherlock Holmes stories. I love wonderful mysteries. I enjoyed it very much. So I'm going to make the Enola Holmes books part of my library. That's on my things to do list this year. Now, the little nose I'm making out of boucle yarn, and it will get smaller as we keep going. And his little smile gets a little smaller too. I just keep sculpting it and do some fine tuning on it. It will start out looking like a little mustache, but the more you work at it, the finer you can make it. And you just add a little wool for some depth. See how easy it is? These would make wonderful stocking stuffers at Christmas. I do keep refining the muzzle as I go along. I'm using embroidery thread to attach the eyes, and this gives me a little more inspiration on how the mouth is to look. King Charles Spaniels always look kind of grumpy. Of all the dogs I'd love to have, I would love to have a King Charles Spaniel. But they are very expensive. Not in my budget. These are mill ends from Pendleton Woolen Mills. I've been collecting these for a long time. I want to use them for rug hooking, a project I've not been able to work on because I wasn't able to sit for too long before my hip operations. But this year I hope to start rug hooking. But that is wool, and that's going to felt right into the base. He'll have his little eyebrows. Now, as you can see, I'm going to stuff some wool right behind the eye to give it a nice firm foundation. I did not have any round black beads, just these little buttons. But this seemed to work okay. We're making progress. he looks like he's an old man, but his mouth gets a little bit more refined, and I fix his nose. It looks like he's asking me a question. That's so funny. So this is the embroidery thread I'm using. I just left it its full weight. And so now we're going to make the ears. Now I wrapped it around my fingers 30 times. That seemed to be just enough thread to make a nice full spaniel ear. Almost there. We'll build up his muzzle a little bit. And refine his mouth a little. he's almost done. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. Share my thrifting and crafting channel with your thrifting and crafting friends and help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I welcome your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. Check us out on Instagram and tap that notification button for upcoming announcements of thrifts and crafts. But most of all, have a lovely, lovely day.